The content you're about to enjoy comes from the archives of The Best You. We're devoted to the very best in personal development. With a magazine and resources dedicated to inspiring and changing people's lives, at The Best You, we work with the world's leading writers and trainers on the evolution of the self, and people whose journeys have been affected by their work and words. For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co.
So, good afternoon. We have a very small group here because people expect me in a different zone, right? So I'm happy you are here. I'm Angelique De Graaff. I'm from Holland, and I'm doing a talk on the Class Whisperer. But since we are in this very small group, I would like to invite you to come up maybe with a question for me, or do you just want to know what I'm doing? Maybe that's better first, and you'll come up with questions later. Yes. So what I found out in schools, I have been a teacher myself for like 5 years, and I found that we did not the best of jobs. Or is any of you a teacher? No? You have been? Yes, and that's for parenting too. It's the same thing, because what I found is that we adults are more occupied with our own needs as to the children, as that we pay attention to what they need, because we think somehow we are programmed to think that they should do whatever we tell them to, right? And we are happy when they do, and we forget that when they do all the time, children lose a lot of self-confidence, a lot of their own personality, just because we adults, is it adults or adults? Adults, I think. It doesn't matter. English is still a little bit of a stress. Good. So whatever, we bring a wrong message. So what I found in schools, so I started telling you, I've been a teacher in special school in Holland. And I found, I was 45 at the moment, and then a new green teacher, that I didn't know how to approach them. I knew about my own kids fairly well. They were like in their 20s at the time. So there was a whole new world. And I saw from the feedback they gave me, they were hanging from the ceiling and jumping out of windows, kicking each other's ass. Sorry, not a good word. So I saw that I needed something different in my approach. So what I found then is that the other teachers began blaming the kids for making it difficult for me. And they said to me, you need to be stricter. You really need to be, more forcefully trying to get them to be silent and compliant. And I thought, that's not my way. So I struggled for at least 3, 4, 5 weeks. And then, by magic, in some of my speeches on YouTube, you'll find that incidents and accidents with the kids really helped me out to find a way to treat them so that I could inspire them more than, annoy them. Because we teachers are mostly annoying. Parents too. We're mostly annoying. We don't want to be. So then I found, in that particular time, I found a course in NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. You can see a lot of people around here, like me, there are NLP trainers. And I found Marshall Rosenberg with his nonviolent communication. I found a lot of information. And I thought, okay, so I read about it, I followed courses, and I got words for other teachers to help out when they were frustrated, angry, etc. But in my own school, I couldn't do that because they helped me. They told me how I didn't do it any good, and they helped me out. They found, so I couldn't teach them. So a few years after that, I thought I leave school and I start my own business to teach teachers. And in that similar time, I watched in Holland, I think you can watch it in England too, the dog whisperer, Cesar Millan. Do you know him? Dog whisperer? Yes. And what he did, if you don't know him, what he did was to tell the dog owners, that their energy was making their little dog really, out of bounds, like biting. I wanted to say screaming, but more like barking, jumping, doing all stuff the owner didn't want the dog to do. Now, it seems disrespectful, but I thought, watching that, isn't that similar to working with kids or any other people? It's like getting into your best energy, he was telling them. And I was seeing it, listening, and I thought, he's using NLP with the dog owners. And it appeared to be true. He is a student, he has been a student apparently by Tony Robbins now. So I thought, I could do that with teachers. I could tell them not to blame the kids, not to be angry, not to be, aggressive almost, not to be powerless mostly. Parents do, not to be powerless because they behave in a way you don't want them to.
For complimentary resources from my book, my complimentary e-course, The Power of the Question, or recommended reads, go to www.thequestion.com/resources. For more information on my coaching or mentoring, go to www.bernardo-moya.com.
So what should you do? Should you think everything is well? No. The thing is, if I can make a giant leap from my first day in school to the 3 months later, I'm very willing to acknowledge that I was maybe the very worst teacher ever, but I'm so sure that at the end of the school year, starting 3 months after I started, I was a very good teacher, and I know why I can say that. It's not because I was strict or anything. It was, I could tell, because the kids were just following me. I just had to raise an eyebrow. And they, oh, sorry, Angelique, yes, we're in. They just were so compliant, and they knew I loved them. Now, there is one particular incident I want to mention. I don't know if I did it in any of the other speeches. It's about how we feed back our kids. It's how we feed back our kids. We think feedback is to be critical, right? To tell them what not to do. We use words that are absolutely painful when we give feedback. Hello, join me. Thank you. You found me. Great. So now I'm out of the frame, maybe. I have to go to the left. I'm still with you. No, you're fine. You're fine. You don't need to do anything. I need to go to the right a little bit. I can do sign language so well. So now listen. You're in the middle of, say, the example I use about how we think feedback is working. We think feedback is telling you off, saying, you don't do good. I want you to do that. It's not working. It's not working with me anyway. If someone tells me all of a sudden you're not what I think you should be, then I internally close off. Now, there was this kid. He was a very hyperactive kid. I was teacher in a special school, so most of them were, but he was particularly hyperactive. And he was lovely too. So I already, in my 3rd, 4th month of being a teacher, really loved the guy. And I said to him, okay, I tried in my incompetent way to make him more at ease. But the thing was, I didn't need to do anything, because at one particular day, I started reading from Harry Potter. Who doesn't know Harry Potter? So this was 15 years ago, I think. And from my peripheral eye view, I could see him finding his chair, sitting at his desk, and just like relaxing totally. And at that particular moment, I was so confused, so amazed. I said, oh my God, how very quiet you are. And then he was stung by a bee. He said, is that quiet? Is this really quiet? I said, yes, my darling, this is quiet. And I felt a tear running over my cheek because I understood how we forever gave him feedback on not being not quiet, and he didn't know how it felt to feel quiet. He didn't know. So I learned from that particular moment how we better feedback the brilliant moments at the time and say, this is what I love about you. This is really cool. And so could you do that a little bit more over time? Because that particular day, this guy, he was jumping all over the place again. And I said, hey, darling, do you remember how it felt to be quiet? And he just said, yes. And he dropped his shoulders and he folded his arms and went to his chair and sat down. I felt a bit horrible to so easily get him into a quiet state. So I didn't push that too much. But wasn't it interesting that worked the best? And so if we generalize that, it is about telling people how lovely they are when we can really mean it. And obviously, I was talking to one of the other stand owners or people, and I was talking to them about how we could love a lot of people without really thinking that their behavior was brilliant. We can love them, right? Now, as a teacher, you might forget. You really think, and as a parent maybe, hi, welcome, hi. And as a parent maybe too, because you think that you have a right to feel upset, that you have a right to feel not so good. And of course, you have the right. There's every right. If you really want to feel bad, you can. But why would you? Why would you feel bad? Why would you continue thinking that your wish is not followed? And by the way, I mean, extending that to all the people around you. Don't you agree that maybe you want now and again to make another person do something you like? But that's not really fair, is it?
For more information on collaborating, partnering, sponsoring, supporting, or speaking at any of our events, or finding out more about our legacy clubs, go to www.thebestyou.co. If you're interested in finding out more about the amazing content we have, please go to www.thebestyou.online and get your 14-day free trial now.
It's not really fair. Because why? You might very well be the center of your universe. I know I am in mine. I mean, you have the right to be the center of your universe, obviously. But the other person is too. Don't you remember? The other person is too. So why would my wish be his command? Now, why would it? So the same goes with me as a teacher and all the guys in class. Yeah, well, that's not true, Angelique. No. You are a teacher, and that means they need to listen to your wisdom, your eternal wisdom. No, they can only listen. They can only listen when you give it to them in a way they can listen to it. So if I force them to listen to me and I'm a bore, or I'm angry, I can see how they cannot listen to that. I can see. So what do I do now? I made from all the experiences of my own life and my studies, I made this really wonderful, I can really boast about it, a really wonderful format called the Class Whisperer. So what I do is I go to schools practically all over the world, bringing a camera crew, mostly from the locals, so a camera crew, and start observing the class where disruption is normal. So where kids are not leaving the room when they were expelled or leaving the room when not expelled. So all contrary behaviors. And I have 5 minutes. Someone is friendly enough to tell me, thank you. Time flies. So I'm observing and I'm seeing how teachers are really, really, really fighting to do their job. And they have really good intentions. And they really cannot handle a lot of classes. It's really a pity. My heart breaks for the kids, obviously. But when I'm with the teachers, I can see how they suffer too. So it's really helping both parties. So one of the really very recent experiences in a class, and that was in Holland, so just in my own country, that one of the teachers I was observing and who was filmed, who was videoed, she had complained about the class never paying attention, and now she came back to me, my seat in the class, and she said, after class, she said, "Didn't you notice? So they never paid attention." And I'm sorry to say, I just felt that I woke up like, what do you say? I mean, it was boring. So I told her, please stop teaching tomorrow and just start connecting. Oh, I cannot do that, Angelique. I cannot stop teaching because then they will not get, the stuff they need to learn from this subject. And I said, they didn't learn the past 2 days that I was with you, right? So better stop doing it until you find a way that they are willing to get your information, because it's brilliant. The information you want to give is brilliant. Your intentions are wonderful. And you can see how it's not compatible. Yes, she said, but then they should listen. I said, yes, obviously they should, because I want them to get your information, but they don't. So that's a catch-22, right? I mean, I can agree how this is frustrating and how this is making you mad. But I really wish for you to find tomorrow all means to get a really good connection. So we do some NLP with the teachers. We do some nonviolent communication. So overnight, really overnight almost, I attended, say, the next day. I saw a little bit of difference when I watched her connecting with her group. And the day after, trying to put in some of the information she needed to give. It brought tears to my eyes, but now of happiness, because the kids, they changed their behavior completely. They started paying attention. They started following her. Even when some boring part normally would make them, flying off the ceiling or, jumping out of windows. They kept staring at her to wait for more pearls to drop out of her mouth. So obviously I'm bringing a little bit of problems if I talk too long now. So I want to thank all of you who came in, maybe getting here from the wrong place, the wrong zone, because I was promoted to be there. I thank you very much. I started asking questions, and now I leave you no time for questions. But after this movie, after this video, I will be here or at my table to answer all of your questions. So thank you very much indeed. Okay, thank you.
For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co.